Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is not Immersive Engineering. This is a new expansion for it, Immersive Petroleum. So as you can see here, there are some really cool new multi-block structures that you can use in the world, and this is a really nice addition to Immersive Engineering, and it still is very immersive, very usable, and well, let's get into it. This expansion is brought to you by Flaxbeard, who has made many other Minecraft mods, and he decided that he would just kind of make this one off on the side, at least from what I was picking up. I saw it out on Reddit and figured I would check out this mod, and boy, I'm glad I did. It's really nice. It works really well with it. In order to check out what is in this mod, if you do a search in JEI, Immersive Petroleum, wow, what? This is all I get is just a little bit, that's it. That's right. It doesn't really add many more blocks. It just adds more multi-block structures as well as functionality, a few liquids and so on. So let me show you how to find out how to access this stuff in this expansion. In your manual, your engineer's manual, you'll want to go down to oil processing on the first page, of which you can then read about your oil reservoirs, which talks about oil down below. And here's the thing, you don't actually need to have oil appearing in the world. It's not like Buildcraft where you've got these spouts and things like that might show up. Instead, you have invisible oil that is below bedrock as far as Minecraft goes. And you need to find this oil. And that is the first stage of that. Now, allow me to show you how that is achieved. Now, I have here some sample drills, or core sample drills. Let me grab an example of a couple of those, and we can test this out. So with the new updates to Immersive Engineering, you can now see the chunk borders when holding on to a core sample drill, which is fantastic. But put one down. I'm going to put down a creative capacitor here, and that will automatically power this up. And then I can just right-click on it. It's going to drill, and it will tell me about how much is left in the earth. Now, it takes about 200 ticks or something like that, or I think that's what it was for it. And this will tell you how much there is as far as minerals in the ground. But in this case, it also would tell you if there's oil. Now, the one I'm in currently says no oil. But the one that's over here in this chunk, I already drilled ahead of time, says no minerals, but there is 2.9 million millibuckets of oil down there. Now, I've been drilling this for a bit now. As you can see, if I hold a bucket, you can see I've got like about 250,000 millibuckets. So plus I've already transferred a whole bunch of it and turned it into another fuel type. But I mean, that is how you are able to find this information. You do not need to worry about retrogenning. Whoops, I just fell into a stairway. You do not need to worry about retrogen. It is just automatically there or not. And your drills, when you replace them and run them again, or your core drill samples can tell you if there is oil there. This world was existing. I just added the expansion and I tested it, and oil was underneath some of the chunks. Not all the chunks, some of the chunks. And therefore I found one that was rich. Now, this one here off to the side had less in it, 1.6 million millibuckets. So that is how you are able to find the first part, which is oil. Where is the oil, so that I know where I need to start drilling? And the second part's going to be, let's back up here, your pump jacks, which are these wonderful looking machinations here that you see on the screen before you. They function beautifully. I've seen these actually working out in the fields of where I used to live, but here there is no UI on this, and they are a very simple multi-block structure. Allow me to actually break one of these. I'm going to grab an extra bit of that, and let me kind of clear out a few of these things here. Grab one of these, and I'm going to break that. Yes, I know. I just kind of messed things up. It looks a bit messy, but I mean, heck, in the engineer's manual, it shows you how to make one of these. They're very simple. It's just a bunch of steel scaffolding, some treated wood fence, a little bit of steel sheet metal, a couple of blocks of steel, and some pipe, as well as maybe some heavy engineering blocks and redstone engineering block at the end here. Put that back in place. And I'm actually going to use the hammer there on the back middle, and it creates this in place. Now, it's not running because it needs power. And of course, if I put this here, and then I grab some HV wire cable, connect it to my creative power cell, it continues going as you see, which is really, really nice. It's It's actually kind of therapeutic to us to watch these things. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. You've got your outputs here. And that is where the crude oil will come out, or just regular oil, black gold. This stuff here, which I've got, if I hold my bucket, you can see crude oil. Got almost 250,000 millibuckets, which is quite a lot. But it will take a lot of power. And of course, you have your shutoffs as well. You can put a lever here and shut this thing off as you need to. But each one of these, for it to pump that stuff out of the ground, is going to take about, 2048, I believe, RF per function in order to grab some millibuckets out of the ground. So it's not exactly easy, but you can power it over time and it will slowly pump it up. And once it's exhausted, the oil in the ground. Now, yes, you can put multiple pump jacks in a chunk. Let me actually grab this and you can see, actually it would be easier if I hit... there we go, chunk borders. So you can see here that these are both in the same chunk. Now I can pump the oil out of the ground twice as fast until it's exhausted. Once it's exhausted, I will gain no speed benefit for pumping this out of the ground. Instead, I will just be gaining, one of these pump jacks will be gaining, up to, 3 millibuckets per pump. Whereas typically, up to 3 millibuckets per pump. And so it's possible you can still gain oil from an exhausted oil area. Now, if there's no oil in the area, as I showed you earlier when I, grabbed this one here and drilled and there was no oil, it will not actually drill for anything. You have to have oil there to begin with. But once you've exhausted it, you can still constantly drain a slow amount of oil from the ground. Now, you won't need these excess pump jacks anymore in the future, so you could actually clean it up and just leave one in that chunk going forward, and you could still gain a little bit from it and therefore use it to power yourself. Now, what do you do with crude oil? Well, let's go back to the engineer's manual. We're going to go back here, and there you then can create a distillation tower, which is this giant behemoth here. It's really, really cool. It takes a lot of stuff. Actually, here, let me show you the 57 steel scaffolding, 17 fluid pipes, a redstone engineering block, 4 heavy engineering blocks, and 60 iron sheet metals. It's massive. It takes a lot of stuff, but I absolutely love it. I don't care that it's massive. Here, let me grab a copy of this. You can see it's got an output down here. It's got this another one of those spots you can put a lever to shut it on and off. It's got this here. Let me actually turn my grids off. It's got the ladder that goes up. And in case, actually, let me grab one of these, break this. And you can see what the structure looks like. I'm going to put this one back. And you can see it is, 1, 2, 3 floors plus a ground floor of the steel scaffolding with a pipe that runs down the length of it. I just added an extra tank over here. Don't worry about that. You've got your redstone block on the corner. You've got your output, which is actually just up against this crate. You don't even have to have the crate there. I'm going to move that. You don't need the crate. It's unnecessary. It's just, I will show you that in a minute. And then you've got another pipe here on the side, plus you've got some heavy engineering blocks. And you've got another output here for the processed items. Now, if I grab my trusty engineer's hammer, and actually I need to go around this side. Let's try doing that. There we go. Now I have just right-clicked on that redstone block and turn this into, let me grab that piece that I broke, turn this into this wonderful tower. Now, before, where there was scaffolding right along here, it is now hollow scaffolding, and you can use it as a ladder to climb up. A little bit of a rendering glitch there, but nothing big, and it's awesome. You now have also a viewing tower that you can, go up and down on the outside instead of just, climbing the outside of some scaffolding like you normally would, where you can just walk up the side edge of it. This allows you to actually scale it inside. Now, what does this do? This will create 2 different materials. Let's get those out of here. One of the materials is actually going to be, let me grab my bucket, diesel, which, of course, you can use to power just about everything with generators. You've got your diesel generators here, which is great. So you can convert your crude oil into diesel fuel. Alternately, you also will get a little bit of some excess here. Let's see if I actually get it. Bitumen, which you can use bitumen to make, let's see if I can actually click this out of here, to make asphalt. Now, if I bring this here, asphalt, there we go. Recipe for it as such, any kind of sand plus bitumen, water, and gravel, or any kind of slag, bitumen, and gravel plus water is going to get you either 8 or 12 asphalt concrete. And what is asphalt, might you ask? It is the same as the regular concrete, but it's just a different color. There's no difference otherwise, short of the recipe. And you can see here, I currently have your crude oil being pumped into this tank. And I have this going down and out and underground currently back up to this, into the large distillation tower, which it then will be processed. Now, if I right click on the distillation tower, you can see that it currently has two areas here. You've got your inputs and your outputs, but you don't really need to pay too much attention to those. I'm going to turn this on, and you can see it's already kicking out bitumen, which is another reason why I had wooden storage crates here. So I'm going to put that there, and you'll start seeing that the bitumen is now being collected in the wooden storage crate. On top of that, you can see crude oil is entering in to this, which you hold shift and you can see the density, the temperature, the viscosity, etc. There may be more in this expansion in the future, but currently that is what it is doing. It's just going in. Now, if I turn this on, of course, this is currently pumping out from this outlet here. Let me actually break that so you can see it. Don't need this anymore. But if I grab this, you now have an output area here. Plus, you need power, just like you do with other stuff. You need power. So I've got the crude oil coming in here, as you see there. Then you've got power coming in here, and you have it going back out. Now, you don't have to have it go back out, but you're only going to be able to store about 24 buckets worth. So that's why I've got a fluid tank nearby so that I can store the excess. Now, if I turn this on, and I look inside, you can see it is making diesel fuel and it is draining it out. I'm just turn that back off again. Actually, I just plugged it in is what happened. My bad. But you can see the diesel fuel is being created from the crude oil at the moment. I can turn this off and it doesn't anymore. It will stop. And you can see that there is currently power off on the side here. Really, really slick. Really nice. It's another method of creating your diesel fuel that I really, really enjoy. And I think that all the textures and everything really blend perfectly with the rest of Immersive Engineering. I mean, actually, the fluid tanks, they look very similar to the distillation towers here. And once I go back to this is pretty much it. You've got your asphalt concrete that I was talking about before. There isn't much else to it at this point. There may be more going forward in the future. I look forward to it. As you can see, I am a big fan of Immersive Engineering, and I'm also a big fan of this. Thank you, Flaxbeard, for a job well done. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, a little bit by bit, on Immersive Engineering and Immersive Petroleum, the newest expansion for Immersive Engineering. Brought to you by Flaxbeard. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give a like, comment below, subscribe if you haven't already, and spread the mischief to others if you think they'll enjoy this content too. And until next time, folks, I'll see ya.